Today we'll be discussing Chapter 12 from the Sports Psychologist Handbook, entitled The Psychology of Athletics by Joaquin Dossel. According to the author, athletics is one of the oldest existing sports with the greatest Olympic tradition. There are four basic aspects that sports psychologists should know before working in athletics. In this discussion, we'll describe the sport's general characteristics, emphasize the variety of disciplines involved, define the psychological keys of planning, propose possible models for the psychological preparations for training and competitions. Athletics is a heterogeneous sport which can be performed on four different surfaces. These are indoor track, outdoor track, cross country, and road. Typical athletic disciplines include running events, walking events, jumping events, throwing events, the decathlon, and the heptathlon. Conventional running events are specialties in which there are no obstacles on the track. These events range in distance from 100 meters to the marathon. In the 100 and 200 meter events, reaction time is crucial. The sports psychologist should work with the athlete to try to attain extreme levels of concentration. The 400 meter race is a continuous sprint event. Psychologists must teach self-regulation. The 800 meter and 1500 meter races are middle distance events. The psychologist must stress strategy and tactics along with quick decision-making skills. The 5,000 meter and 10,000 meter events are known as distance events, and runners must complete 12.5 and 25 laps, respectively, on an outdoor track. The two main psychological objectives for these races are to channel information and achieve adequate concentration throughout the race. In the marathon event, athletes run a distance of 42,275 meters. To prepare them for this grueling race, the sports psychologist and coach must teach the athlete to maintain a constant and comfortable rhythm throughout the event. Train in group when possible, look for motivation objectives each day, and the athlete must be aware of their physical limits beforehand. The 4x100 meter and the 4x400 meter relays don't depend exclusively on the individual athlete, but on the sum of four athletes. The psychological preparation for these events should focus on team cohesion, rapport, concentration, and confidence in teammates. Hurdles include three disciplines: the 110 meter hurdles for men, the 100 meter hurdles for women, and the 400 meter hurdles. The 3,000 meter steeplechase event for men has four burial-style obstacles on the track and additional water jump. There are several considerations for sports psychologists in these events. In the 100 meter and 110 meter hurdles, getting a good start is imperative. The athlete must use continuous concentration and work on time and technique in the 400 meter hurdles. The athlete must know the number of steps between hurdles, be realistic about their physical form, and be able to recover when their rhythm is altered. The most important factor in the 3,000 meter steeplechase is to know how to manage your energy levels. The race walking events are the 20 kilometer and 50 kilometer races. The athlete must know how to set an adequate pace and make risky decisions when called for. In the jumping events, the long jump, triple jump, high jump, and pole vault, psychologists should teach techniques such as visualization, relaxation, thought control, etc. during the long pauses between attempts. They should also work on verbal and nonverbal communication between the coach and the athlete. The throwing events include the javelin, shot put, and hammer. The sports psychologist should focus on adequate concentration to avoid errors and describe autonomic movements and use pauses between attempts to both correct technique and apply psychological strategies. The decathlon and heptathlon combine running, jumping, and throwing events. There are 10 events for men and 7 for women. In these events, psychologists should focus on helping athletes rest between events and minimize the extent to which a good or bad result affects on the athlete. Although the coach is the primary figure supporting the athlete, he or she may be influenced by many other individuals or groups. All these can affect the athlete's performance. The primary team is the athlete and the coach. The secondary team can be made up of trainers, doctors, masseuses, sports psychologists, agents, etc. Experienced experts, parents and family, girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse, fans, and media are all potential influences. There is a need to plan the season based on the athlete's objectives and taking into account certain concepts. Activity would be defined as the activity performed in each season. A training session is a basic unit of training which includes activity and exercises. A microcycle usually lasts 5 to 10 days, and a monthly cycle contains various cycles and lasts 15 to 30 days. A macrocycle lasts several monthly cycles, and a season includes one or more macrocycles that usually last a year. Sports psychologists should consider important training and competitive periods. A possible classification for these periods can be divided into 4 phases: the general preparation phase, basic preparation phase, minor competition phase, and major competition phase. One of the sports psychologist's main functions is to study the situation that could pose a risk to athletes. They need to take into account the athlete's general training plan, dedication, and financial restrictions. There are many psychological variables that can affect an individual athlete. Some of these include motivation, training, and competitive stress, self-confidence, arousal levels, attention and concentration, and a group cohesion. Athletes can be distinguished by sports psychologists in regards to adapting mental training along with physical training. 3 types are those who want to but can't because of physical limitations, those who can but don't want to because they don't want to put the work into it, and the others, who have certain physical abilities and the right psychological training to be among the elite. When athletes work with a sports psychologist, either the athlete approached the psychologist himself, the athlete approached the psychologist at the coach's initiative, or the athlete and coach made the decision to approach the psychologist together. Sports psychologists should always strive to work with both the coach and the athlete. The main objective of sports psychologists is to achieve an adherence to the physical training plan and optimize the time an athlete dedicates to sport. To accomplish this, the sports psychologist can apply motivational strategy and establish objectives that should be carried out between the athlete, coach, and psychologist. Psychological training needs to be monitored such as physical training does. This should be done through evaluations using interviews and questionnaires done in clinical setting and observations on the field. Athletes should keep records of what they do in training, what their objectives are, etc. Then there should be a final evaluation after all the athletes' reports have been gathered and studied. Sports psychologists should train specifically for competitions and should meet with the athlete a few days before and after each competition. There are 3 stages when preparing an athlete for competition. In the pre-competition stage, a training plan of the past week or month prior to competition should be analyzed by the athlete, coach, and sports psychologist. In the second stage, the training plan will be personalized according to the athlete's needs and objectives. In the competition card stage, a summary will be written of the most important aspects for the athlete to remember when competing. There are some key factors to consider when psychologically preparing for a competition. First, traveling to the stadium in the moments before the warm-up can be a time of preparation for the athlete. There needs to be a physical and psychological warm-up so the athlete feels self-confident and motivated. Prior to the start of the competition, the athlete should be totally focused and prepared. The competition itself should include performance planning, going beyond the limits, and incorporating psychological strategies such as self-talk, relaxation, visualization, etc. Some important psychological variables during the competition are confidence, concentration on the competition plan, anxiety, and stress and motivation. In post-competition, the performance should be analyzed. In my research, the 2 articles used showed how sports psychology can be used in many tracks in field sports. One of the research articles concerned a study about how external focus of attention enhances discus throwing performances. As with previous studies done on this subject, the authors found that using external focus of attention results in better motor performance than using internal focus of attention. The second research article was using internal imagery training in high jumping. The study concluded that using imagery significantly improved bar clearance among the high jump participants. Because bar clearance is the most difficult part of high jumping, the results were very encouraging. Thank you.